Welcome to another edition of KFB's Candid Conversation. I'm Tim Thornberry, editor of the Kentucky Farm Bureau News. And as you can tell, we are still working remotely, observing social distancing in our efforts to stay safe during this pandemic event. We certainly hope that you are too. I'd like to take a moment first to say thank you to all the frontline people that are out there taking care of us, whether certainly our medical professionals who are saints in my book, and they are risking their lives every day to take care of folks, and we just can't appreciate them enough. And I say thank you to all of them. Certainly there are so many others. Our first responders, certainly our EMT folks, our police officers. There are our truck drivers who are still getting all the goods to the stores that we need. The folks that are working in the stores, we certainly couldn't do without you. Even our sanitation workers. Where would we be if we couldn't get our garbage picked up right now? So all these people, I know I'm leaving so many out, but there's so many folks out there that are doing so much for us while we stay home, and we just can't thank you enough. One group that we would like to talk about today are our teachers and the wonderful job that they're doing, working remotely, still teaching, still working with all our students across the state. Just can't say enough about them and the job that they do every day and any time, but especially now. And so I'd like to welcome to the show an agriculture teacher from Garrett County High School, Shelbi Clark. Shelbi, welcome to the show.
Hi, Tim. It's good to be here.
Shelbi, before we get started, if you don't mind, you are a new teacher, a first-year teacher. So being out of the classroom yourself hasn't been that long. Tell me a little bit about your experiences so far, especially as we've transitioned into this teaching from home kind of thing.
Well, I think what is unique about me being a first year teacher is I'm not even a first full year teacher. I graduated in December. So I started in January at Garrett County as a long-term sub. The ag teacher there went to be the interim assistant principal, so I took on that role. And it was interesting. I had a couple of months with students, and we work on trimesters at Garrett County. So I came in January, which was the middle of a grading period. Students had a teacher for the first half of that trimester, and then it completely switched. I mean, we had different teaching styles. We had different ways of doing things all day. So that was interesting. Students, it took an adjustment period as it always would or does. And then that was January. Coming into March, we went home on a Thursday, and we didn't know when we were going to come back. Teachers were able to, on Thursday, tell our students, we have some NTI assignments that we've uploaded to your classroom. Go on there, download them, and then on Friday, we came back as teachers, and we prepared for the next 15 days of knowing we weren't going to see our kids. And we were really blessed at Garrett County because we're 1-to-1, which is every student has a Chromebook at the high school. So we were able to, all of our stuff is on Google Classroom. They're able to access all of the stuff as long as they have internet in their homes. Now, not all of them do. So at that point, we're also printing all of the assignments that we're creating, and we're emailing them to our principals. They're printing them off. Students can come to the school, pick them up. It's a really intricate process, and everyone is involved. That being said, it's cool because we're getting to connect with students on more of a, it sounds crazy, but we're getting to connect with them on more of a personal level because we're calling and we're saying, hey, I know you've turned in your assignments, but I just want to check on you. How are you doing? Are you taking a walk every day? Are you playing with your dog? What are you doing? We miss you. We miss hearing about your life. So now we're doing that over the phone. So that's been interesting as a first-year teacher because I don't know what a real school year looks like. I don't know what March looks like in a classroom because I haven't had one yet.
Well, obviously it sounds like you're very excited about it. And as I'm sure the students are. I know we have a system here, the NTI system. I'm going to let you explain a little bit about that in just a minute, which most of the students and teachers are sort of used to that anyway, to a certain degree, for things like snow days and things like that. As an agriculture teacher, and I certainly, when I was mentioning folks earlier about still out there working, our farmers, gosh, where would we be without agriculture right now to feed us and clothe us and fuel our cars? I just can't say enough about that. I would imagine that is part of what you guys are talking about as an agriculture teacher and as your students who are in these agriculture classes. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Another thing to even go along with that is a lot of our kids are farmers. They work on farms. They work in essential industries. So I have students, for example, that work at Marksberry. They're essential workers, and their employers know that they're home, and so they're working a lot of hours these days, and that is making it difficult for them to complete their NTI work some days, but they're being really diligent in getting it done. And also, us as agriculture teachers are able to kind of work with them. Like, for example, I have a farm business management class. Students in that class, if they are showing farm business management skills and they're proving to me that they're doing that every day, we're turning that into the assignments, the things that they're doing to receive grades, because they're in the workforce, they're doing it, they're learning more where they are than what I could really teach them from their Chromebook at home.
There's something to be said about the hands-on learning. Certainly part of the overall career and technical education sector. You can really learn a lot by doing, and it sounds like a lot of these students are doing just that.
It is. I think that is one thing that students really love about career and technical education is they know that they're not going to be in a textbook or a computer or reading something every day. Do we still hit those things? Yes. Do we still meet our literacy standards? Yes. However, kids know that when they come to, I don't teach Ag Power. I have a co-teacher who teaches Ag Power. But they know when they walk into his classroom, they're going to get to go to the shop and they're going to learn something that's going to help them in the future. They know they're not going to be typing book reports because that's just not how some kids learn. And so that's what they love about our classes. And we miss being able to provide them that because we're having to do you sit at your computer, you listen to me give an online lecture, you read a definition, there are different things now that our kids are like, we struggle learning that way, and we understand that, and we're doing everything that we can to make sure, or find new ways maybe, to teach them the way they learn from afar.
We mentioned NTI. Can you explain to our folks that may not know what that is, a little bit about it, please?
Sure, that's just non-traditional instruction. So we've always thought of it as snow day work. So that is, we prepare packets for them to send home on a snow day. They have them, so that isn't a day we have to make up at the end of the year. As on a day that we're not in school, they're still learning. They have to turn in those packets when we come back to school. So we still meet our standards. We're still providing education on days that we're not in the building.
Certainly, a person my age, for instance, did not grow up with a computer at her right hand. It was all something we had to learn later in life, and to be quite honest with you, it was a bit scary. It took me a while to sort of get used to it. But now, with the technology that we have, obviously, it's enabling us to do this. We're in two very different locations carrying on this conversation. But it's something that you, as a younger teacher, it's just part of your nature. You've grown up around this. You're not afraid of it like I was, right?
No. Yeah, there's been a big push for technology in schools in general. So like I said, Garrett County does happen to be one-to-one. Every kid has a Chromebook. We've used Google Classroom since the beginning of school. So all the students know exactly how the program works. They know how to receive information. They know how to contact us through that Google Classroom setup if they have a question, and it's very easy for them to turn their assignments in.
That brings up something interesting that we talk a lot about in our organization, You certainly need that connectivity part of the equation to make this all work. Of course, a lot of places we have it, but there are still places that we don't, and we certainly are advocating that we need that service at the last mile, as they say. How have you dealt with that as far as maybe if you have some students that don't have that ability to connect through technology and computers?
I've been really blessed. Most of my students have been able to connect. Now, I did have one yesterday. What I do want to talk about is the Bluegrass Regional FFA Day. That was a really innovative contest we competed in this week, but I'll come back to the connectivity. Like I said, we print off the copies and students are able to come pick them up. That's really been the best way for us to do that at this point. We can still students call us and ask questions. We talk on the phone, but really that is an issue. It's a big problem for us. With the students have the Chromebook, they would have the ability to do all of the assignments the same way as their peers, but if they don't have that connectivity, they just don't have that opportunity.
We're certainly seeing how very important that really is at this time. Always has been, but it really comes to light right now, doesn't it?
It does.
So what's a typical assignment like if I'm a student in your classroom and today it is a Wednesday today, a school day. How does this all happen, Shelbi?
So ag teachers or CT teachers in general have a lot of different classes, which is different than your core teachers. I have 4 different classes right now. So I've got a group of vet science students, I have a group of animal science students, I have a group of small animal science students, and I have a group of farm business management students. Every class looks a little different. The vet science is actually run through Murray. They're getting dual credit. So that being said, all of their stuff is on a program called Canvas. They take a quiz. There's a PowerPoint. They have guided notes. That one is very, very structured because it's through Murray. And then the other ones are really my prerogative. So a lot of days I will post a PowerPoint. They will define the terms. And that's something we would do in class anyway, just because that's the best way to get information to kiddos sometimes. And then towards the end of the week, as we work away, when we would be getting into activities or going to the barn or going to the school farm to actually do hands-on stuff, I try to make things opinionated or something like research. So for example, this next week, an assignment that they will have is, I live on a family farm, so we're in calving season right now. My parents videoed me tagging a brand new calf this weekend. So I will post that video of myself next week and then talk about the ear tagger, just the tool itself. And then I think the assignment will probably look something like, you find me a tool that is helpful in animal science. You find me something that you think is important, that you think has a need that every farmer could use. We might turn it into like a sales pitch sort of situation. So they're just going to find something that interests them in the animal science world and tell me about it and tell me why they think it's important. So I'm trying to do a lot of stuff that is like, not research based, but they are kind of looking stuff up, but they're getting to do something that interests them.
What's been the reaction from your students so far? Are they loving this? Do they miss you? Do they miss school?
They miss school. The first few weeks, it was kind of like, oh, this is NTI. It's like snow day. We're going to come back. It's going to be great. Get a few weeks out of school. And now they're like, please bring us back to school. We want to see our friends. We want to see you. We miss everything about school. And I think it's really important to note that all students don't learn the same way. And so some of them are just not learning the way they would if they were in class. Sitting at their computers is just not conducive to their learning style. And I have parents emailing me like, this student had an A last trimester and like their grade is dropping, and I don't want that to affect them, but they need a person in front of them talking to them, or a person that they can ask or just hang out with. A lot of kids are just lonely right now. They don't know when they're going to see their friends again. And that's a really hard place to be in when you're 15 to 18 years old. It's a hard place to be in when you're in your 20s. I want to see my friends too.
Hey, it's a hard place to be when you're in your 50s too.
Yeah.
But certainly the technology that we have today allows us to do so much more than had this been 25 or 30 years ago. So I think we should count ourselves as blessed in that area. And certainly, I'm sure that the students will get used to this as the teachers have. I've seen some very innovative videos out there. So what's the conversation that you have with other teachers? How are they adapting to this?
It depends on the teacher. So some teachers are very submerged in technology. They're like, oh, no big deal. We got this. We've been using all these programs for years. Totally fine. Other teachers are like, I print everything off. I don't even use Google Classroom. And that's all within the same school. I mean, so every teacher is very different. Some of them are very stressed. Some of them are calm, cool, and collected. Everyone collectively is missing their students. We all want to go back to work so badly. I've talked about this a lot with just the people in my household. They're like, why are you so grouchy right now? Why are you so angry? And I'm like, because I spend every day surrounded by at least 30 people. From 8 to 3 every day, there are at least 30 humans in front of me that are talking to me, asking me questions, telling me about their lives, just in general. And in the hallway, there's like hundreds of them just with us all the time. And I'm like, I'm sitting at my home with 2 people that I know that really don't have anything new to say to me. I need new people. I need all my people telling me what's going on in their lives. I just miss communication. And I think that's been the consensus among teachers. We love standing in the hallway between classes, talking to students that we don't necessarily have in class, but we really love that child and we like to know what's going on in their life. And we're just not getting that right now.
Shelby, it sounds to me like teachers are so much more than just the person teaching a particular subject. I think
we know all about
that out, aren't we?
We know all about the boyfriends and the girlfriends and all of the things. We know all of the things because we're a little bit older and maybe a little bit wiser. And so they will come to us and have an issue. And we don't always have a solution, but we always have an ear and we can always listen. And so we know everything that goes on. And right now we don't know what's going on. And we're worried because we don't know what's going on in our kids' lives because some of them don't maybe have the best home life. Some of them are struggling and we want to be there for them, but we just can't be in the capacity that we normally are.
Well, certainly, Shelby, we appreciate the job that you and all of our teachers are doing right now. I know it can be difficult on some days and it can be exciting on others. Same way for I would say most everybody who's learning to work from home or work at a distance. But we certainly appreciate you and all of your teachers out there that are making every effort to stay connected with their students. Can't thank you enough. Can't thank you enough for being on the show today. And we look forward to hearing more about the classroom as we get further into the year. We're not sure yet how that's going to end up, but we certainly will keep our thoughts and prayers with you guys and your students out there. Our guest today, again, has been Shelbi Clark, an agriculture teacher at Garrett County High School. Shelbi, thanks so much. Thank you to our viewers out there. If you're a regular viewer of the show, you know you can go to our many social media platforms and see this and really all the other content that Kentucky Farm Bureau has through our website and certainly through Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. We appreciate you so much, and we look forward to seeing you again on Candid Conversation.
Thanks so much for having me, Tim.